All right, guys, we are back for game number two between 2 plus 2 and Salty Snacks. 2 plus 2 looking really good that first game with an unconventional draft, picking up Malfurion and Medivh right off the bat, and then pulling out a Samuro. And we're going to see the Garage ban followed up by the Medivh ban. So a little respect to Fly Straven's play of that Medivh. I mean, he obviously executed those portals, helped ensure that they were able to walk in and walk out. The protection, a lot of value. The polymorphs were doing some solid work, and we're going to see the same ban coming out from 2 plus 2. They don't want to deal with Barrage as well, and so Mayev will be in the actual pick here. So uh, I'm sure we'll see the Warden's Cage probably still. It would be interesting if we actually don't see the Warden's Cage, if they're opting for a different play, because you can do something like a nub and Mayev and actually isolate two people out of the fight, which would have felt a little bit better in my opinion. Ultimately, like they could have taken out both Malf and Medivh, and all of a sudden there's no one to support the team at all. And it was also odd the Planet Cracker choice from Salty Snacks because of the fact that you can just lock on and all of a sudden like clear out the clones if he doesn't have his clones available on Samuro. Of course, like Red played that super well, so odds are he would have had it up, but it would have been significantly more value in general, especially if you take out two targets. All of a sudden, there's no way to heal it up, or you even use it and then you use it and condemn them out and all that. Of course, you get less value out of the purification salvo, but it would have still been, I feel like, higher value that they picked up the Planet Cracker almost to compensate for the fact they knew Cocoon was going to be the pick. So the Diablo Junkrat, they're going for Displacement City here on the side of Salty Snacks, be able to smack them into walls, give them the backhand, and then pop them on over back into their base, or just bounce them around. So Tychus and Malfurion will be the pickups here on the side of 2 plus 2. Tychus is, your conventional anti-tank. He fell out of favor in a lot of cases, but he's been seeing a lot more play once again. And Malfurion obviously worked really well for him last game. I never got a chance to see how many stacks of Vengeful Roots he managed to get, but it worked for him. They also picked up, the boost to Tranquility, Serenity at level 20, but I feel like they honestly could have picked anything at level 20 at that point, just how far ahead they were. That really didn't matter. So we need solo laners for both teams still. We need a tank for 2 plus 2, and we need a support. So banning out a tank would be definitely possible here. We're getting Cho as the ban, and I think they're expecting something spicy from 2 plus 2 there, because when you look at the draft, they have Malfurion, they have Mayev, and they have Tychus. I don't know if Cho'Gall would have been the most optimal choice, but they would have taken away possibility of picking up Tychus to try and like burn through Cho'Gall's health pool. So they have opted to take out Alexstrasza. Alexstrasza shines on the shrines, and for good reason. He goes into dragon form, gets a lot of control over the points, and once she gets a lot of control over the points, you kind of have to abandon ship unless your team fight is that much better than Alexstrasza's dragon form and all the boosted healing she does, along with the knockbacks and the extra damage she puts out. So this still gives them the opportunity to pick up Stukov once again. Now, the team that they have, I don't know if Stukov will matter too much, but it would work nice with the Diablo. Diablo overpower, you pick up the Stukov, you have the silence sitting and waiting. Instead, they're going to opt for Rhaegar to get more Shrine Clear. At this point, they have Rhaegar, who helps with Shrine Clear, Dahaka with Shrine Clear, Junkrat's pretty good at the Shrine Clear. So they have a solid team for clearing out that shrine. Mayev and Tychus aren't too shabby. Well, and as we saw previously, Mayev was doing well with Salty Snacks comp, where they themselves were able to out wave clear 2+2 in the early game. Unfortunately, they weren't able to out team fight 2+2 during the game. And once they got that 16 versus 14 after getting that full team ace, that pretty much threw the game completely into 2+2's favor throughout the rest of it. So we got our solo laners. We could see Sonya still. Blaze is also a possibility. We're going to see Muradin as the main tank, and we're going to see Illidan. So Illidan coming on back here, a little spicy. We'll see the Illidan probably against Dahaka, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Hunt as the pickup to allow him to really clear lanes and come back in. It's also interesting because he can help set up Mayev with the Hunt. Basically, stuns a target, Mayev can come on in, grab him, pull him back, and then get the Warden's Cage set up. On the other hand, Rhaegar does have his slow totem that does mess with Illidan, although he can bounce on over to a further target outside of that eventually. Now, and Junkrat can also displace 3+2's team, aside from Muradin, who's able to leap in, and they have, I guess, so Illidan can get back in if he's displaced. Muradin can leap back in or out if he's displaced. And finally, Mayev can flank herself out. So Cassia is the final pickup here. It's a pretty good counter if she can land her blinds, because it'll have effect on Illidan, it'll have effect on Tychus, and even Mayev. And if you can see the chat, we forgot about that hero. So sometimes, best laid plans go astray. In this case, they basically went mostly, an auto team, and Cassia is really solid right now into this kind of comp. So they'll have the big fatty heal, but if they can blow up the Rhaegar, because Rhaegar will not be able to ancestral himself, they can blow up the Rhaegar, I think they take this. But Cassia will really, really dent that scenario, because Illidan could get wallbanged around, and especially come 16, he can really lock down Illidan long enough that he's not able to sustain through the rest of the fight with his autos, because he's basically been hit into a wall, stunned, overpowered, and then hit into a second wall potentially, and then Cassia drops a blind afterwards, and all of a sudden there is no Illidan. He's just basically taken out of the fight altogether. So we'll see if they're able to conquer the Cassia, or if the Cassia will prove to be a little bit too much in 2+2's game plan, and they kind of miscalculated there, getting a rounding error. So we got energy this time on the Cassia. We got infrared on the Junkrat, Rossi on the Rhaegar, Blaze TDB on the Diablo, Chips on Dahaka. Okay, they're going to play with it. And that is Salty Snacks. So on the other side, we got Reb on the Illidan, Flyest Raven on the Mayev, Retor on Malfurion again, Axon on the Tychus, and McNulty on the Muradin. There is a little bit of the displacements. It looks like they're saying it's okay, regardless of if they change it or not. McNulty getting a little bit of abuse there. There's the pull onto Cassia. Back on in she goes, trying to fend some damage onto Reb, knocking him away, which may have actually been a little bit of a miss play from Infrared. It looked like Blaze wanted to go on in, but they actually won that trade, in my opinion, for the most part, aside from Energy taking a lot of damage there. So we're going to actually see the Perfect Storm, the Bonds of Justice, Battered Assault coming on out here instead. So It'll be interesting to see if he picks up the other talents associated with Better Assault as well. We got the Nature Swiftness. And there's the gank attempt onto Diablo. There's the root. Nice pull and the follow-up stun. And say goodbye, Diablo. At this point, he only had 7 souls, and he is not really going to be doing too well that early against a gank attempt. And so they're going to now exploit their advantage here, which is really good. Like I said, these teams don't waste time. They make sure to use the fullest extent of what time they have available. Unfortunately for them, Reb getting a little bit wild there up against Chips and falling. So they're going to have to rotate Muradin up until they can get Illidan back into that lane. So they're going to fall behind potentially in the XP wars. Nice dodge there from Chips. Other side for talents, we also have Dash picked up. We got the Colossal Totem. We got the Charge Strikes. We got Put Some English on it, Devil's Due, and finally Tissue Regeneration. So he's actually going to be opting for being a significantly tankier Dahaka instead of being, less tanky with the Speed Demon kind of build. Additionally, we're going to see the Colossal Totem, which you don't see quite as frequently anymore. Blaze in a really bad spot, going on it for the grab on Tychus. There comes a really nice root from Rator. They secure the kill on Blaze. Blaze overstep in there, not having the backing of his team, and he pays the penalty for that. So we got the Thunderburn, we got Friend or Foe coming on out, we got Vengeful Roots again, and the bigger they are, other side, we got Hero Stalker, so the new talent for Dahaka, or the reworked one from the Shadows, Haste for Explosions, Ring of the Leech, and finally Feral Heart. Very nice grab here from Chips. In the meantime, like I said, these teams are optimizing what they're doing really well in general. So you saw that basically this lane was pushed up and there was nothing for Chips to do. So instead he picked up the Shaman Camp, which is going to get a lot of value. You can see it's started actually taking down this wall. And it's not going to get too much more. I don't believe it'll actually get much more than that. But it really did screw them over from getting that camp and helping them, distract Salty Snacks. So they're going to start getting to work here. This is a little bit of a slow rotation on the side of Salty Snack. They'll be able to get this in time to contest, but they did lose positioning and they did lose a lot of the battle for 40. So Shaman Camp is going to be pushing in. They want to try and solve this as long as possible to get max value. They are going to have Reb come on up, which means that we should see Salty Snacks engage here. I'm not quite sure what they're waiting for, honestly, because they see Illidan, and this is their time to go in if they're ever going to go in. At this point, if they're not going to go in, which it looks like they have decided, send Chips bottom, which they did. Chips can, come on up with his Z, and they're going to just give this up. They're going to hold this for a little bit. They're not going to get too much more out of that. It's actually better for Salty Snacks, in my opinion, if they do hold it, because Chips can just sit here as he safely knows what's going on. So we got Junkrat back on top now, soaking that lane. We got the jump over. McNulty going really deep there, diving right onto Blaze. There's the follow-up. Reb on there. Very nice cleanse. Blaze trying to get on out. There is Rossi going on in, giving them a little bit of the bite. Junkrat dropping that mine, being able to zone him out a little bit. And this is actually going to be an early game for very nice 3-man pull from Flyers Raven. Not able to capitalize very much on it. However, they do take the fort down. They get themselves the complete mid, which is really nice. Normally you'll see teams kind of split, hit a front wall if they're lucky, and maybe a little bit more than front wall, but they're going to soak, all 3 lanes instead of focusing on getting that fort. However, they almost got themselves a kill. If they got the kill, it would have been definitely better. However, this does set them up for other Punishers in the mid lane. Another Punisher in the mid lane is going to be a very nice game coming out from Blaze, TDB, and Rossi. I don't know if it'll be enough. He will have to go right through them. There's Infrared sitting on over, and Reb is going to try his best. Another Q onto Reb. And there he goes, blown to smithereens. Call in Junkrat. Take care of a problem. No problem too big, no problem too small. Junkrat's there ready to, lay down the explosives. So McNulty getting pulled on in by Chips. We got energy here to help defend. A nice blind coming on out. They won't be able to get much more, but they did get a lot of this bottom wall, which then preps for this Punisher as well. So if you're Salty Snacks, you do have to be concerned. Like, yes, you're getting kills, but you're losing a lot of structures. You have this tower down now to about half. The entire mid gone. Have almost all of the front wall gone. The bot lane, we have McNulty just sitting there, spawning them out. They shouldn't be able to fight, but they are trying to collapse. In fact, they're going to collapse, but back... They could have actually fought this, I feel, but they didn't have the manpower to like truly fight this. McNulty should be able to jump out shortly. It's taken a lot of damage. Had to pop the avatar. They do hit 10, so that's one heroic down for the next objective, which is actually really big because McNulty is not going to be able to commit as hard in the next team fight. In the meantime, however, we got Blaze looking for Reb. Reb will be able to get out. Chips coming on in, trying to get the gank as well. They won't be able to do it. So Salty Snacks actually had a window of opportunity to still take this camp because the rotation was still happening. However, they would have very likely been caught by the rotation coming on out if 2+2 decided to flank into this bush instead of like coming straight down or onto the side. And giving up this camp really doesn't do too much. However, 2+2 is just running away with the structure damage here. They've taken bottom, they've taken mid, top is still staying the same. They've gotten camps across the board. They're now taking their own shaman camp. They have almost full walls across the board. They have one tower top and one tower bottom, which is looking worse for the wear. But with this shaman camp, they're going to have to deal with it first on the side of Salty Snacks. And if they don't deal with it, they're going to lose the front wall. Now they pick up their own shamans. They can go and fight on even footing. It is a 2-2 kill game, and it's fairly even overall. The problem that they really have right now is that they're behind on structures pretty drastically, and they really need to get it on in there. McNulty doing a nice job disrupting the rotation as best as it can. So now is really the do or die time, and Blaze looking for a flank. Well, over the wall. There's the Hake getting Rune on in. There's the APOC. Mayev getting on out with her passive, but Reb taking a load of damage. There's the Tranquility. Nice pull from Flyest Raven, but now he has all the focus of Salty Snacks, and there is the turn. Reb just battering through them, using that level 1 battering assault, and he is on the rampage. Chips trying his best. Nice slam from Blaze TDB. There's the overpower. And they lose it once again, but no one has gone down here. There's Chips. Ooh, a nice cleanse coming on out, but the counter kill 1-for-1. Very aggressive play from Reb. And a nice cleanse coming out from Rossi, seeing that come on in. The blind coming on in as well, but it wasn't quite enough. Between that extra damage and then the ability damage, he was so low energy that, well, the rest is history there. It's kind of bit like Dark Energy. A very nice over the wall from Infrared, but unfortunately it is Mayev, so she just blinks right on over. So we missed some of these talents here. We had the Bond of Justice at 7. Another attempt from Blaze TDB, getting really aggressive there. They're still holding on out here. They have not lost the keep. It's only taken minimal damage. They're barely behind in terms of XP at this point. So they're still in this. I feel like Salty Snacks come level 20, if they can make it there, are going to be very, very scary. Between the Taste for Explosions just helping Junkrat continue to scale, and Diablo getting that level 16. So the other talents there, we have Killing Static. There's the Engage. There's the Overpower. Tychus being the focus here. There comes the damage. There's the blind. Mayev in the back over there. There's the Warding Cage separating up. Flyest Raven has no escape anymore. There comes Junkrat. Junkrat not getting too much, but there is Rossi now being the focus. McNulty. Rossi taking a wrong turn. Wolf is a little bit drunk. Old Yeller being put out to pasture there. Energy trying to turn. Blaze is now trying to run for his life, but he will be pulled back in and sent back to hell. But he's only going to be gone for a little bit because he had his 100 souls. So they're now at 14 versus 13. They're not quite at the point where this is scary, but this is starting to get scary because they can now push on in here. But I think this is a bad call. They're only down one person. Nice pull from Chips. There is a nice knockback, and McNulty having to run for his life. Infrared, however, is going to be focused on down as the rest of Salty Snacks focuses on McNulty and are enabled to capitalize on the combo of displacements that came through. Blaze getting a nice stun onto McNulty, and this might be the final. No, McNulty's still staying alive. At this point, I don't think you can kill McNulty. You can't kill the beard of Murden. Murden has a second life bar, and it's his beard. It's an undocumented feature in Heroes of the Storm, but you are witnessing it right now. The beard is pretty much, unkillable. It's basically Murden has his own personal garage attached to him. In the meantime, they're working their ways towards 16. There is still the opportunity for the next shrine for them to potentially win. As Devastating Charge keeps ticking on up, this is really going to be kind of a make or break. If he can max out Devastating Charge, then they can, almost one-shot McNulty. We got 16 stacks here. We got 9 for the Bonds of Justice, which is really big. And we had the dash completed. We had the Spray and Pray. We have Ice Block. We have 6 Sense coming on out. Bladed Armor. And like I said, Healing Stack. On the other side, we have the Feeding Frenzy, the Isolation, the Ferocious Stalker, Devastating Charge with the Diabolical Momentum, Tricky Shuffles, and the Ripper Air. We got the Grounding Bolt. We got the Surge of Light. We got Cleanse. And finally, we got Tidal Waves with, of course, Ancestral, the Ball Lightning, and Ripper Tire. So Blaze really far out. There comes the APOC, really aggressive positioning from Blaze once again. The Warden's Cage, and I don't think Diablo's going to be able to survive this. Blaze getting focused down. Rossi going to be going down. There's Ancestral on energy, but 1, 2, and lining up for number 3 as 2+2 gets themselves 3 kills, and they're looking for a 4th one here with Infrared going on down, and they can actually take this keep, and they can actually end this game right now. They hit 16. Blaze way far out there. He was kind of trying to stop any rotation and trying to help his team take this fort, but that was way too far. His team was not able to get there nearly in time. The APOC was blown, not getting anyone, and 2+2 is walking away with a clean 2-0. The Cassia was not instrumental enough to counter all of this auto attack damage. They looked much better than the first game, but a small misplay here and there left them falling behind, left them losing too much, and eventually that last team fight being down that 16 talent versus non-16 talent. Well, you do the math. Being down such a huge talent here is bound to make you lose. And if we take a look at the numbers, Tyke is 27k, may have 27k, 26, 21, 19. So the numbers are all in the same ballparkish area. Now, healing done, Rossi didn't even come close. Basically, twice as much healing from Malfurion. So that was really the deal breaker. If they didn't focus appropriately, they couldn't kill someone. And because they focused on McNulty once, well, that was their opportunity really to come back into this game. They weren't able to secure the kill on McNulty. Infrared went down instead, and well, it just fell out of control for him at that point. So the story here is that pretty much 2+2 executing extremely well, and well, they're able to optimize everything they've been doing for the most part. So I'm going to jump in an interview with McNulty. Normally I don't do that too often, but we're going to do that. Something a little bit, a little bit different there. So hold on tight as we get